Welcome to the Beat Cancer Answer weekly call, and tonight we have some special guests that I'll let Zach introduce, but just to get some house cleaning out of the way, we none of what we say is medical advice. Please consult your physician. We have to say that. We don't say that we cure anything, but we do know a whole lot about health, and that's what we talk about on this podcast. Also, too, I might have to say this a couple times throughout the podcast, but if your phone is unmuted or your computer is unmuted and there's noise in the background, I will mute you. You will get a notification that you're being muted. It doesn't mean that I don't like you. It just means that there's noise in the background, and we can hear it, and it's disturbing to the call. To unmute yourself on the computer, or on the phone, just go down to the little microphone icon. It's on the computer. It's in the lower left-hand corner. It looks like a microphone, and if it's blue, you're hot, and we can hear you, and we can hear your dishes being washed in the background and everything else. Just click that to red, and you can unclick it if you want to chime in or have a question. And if you're on the phone, just hit *6. It works for both things. It works for both muting and unmuting. So if I mute you and you do want to ask a question or you have something to say, you can unmute yourself by hitting *6, and then you can remute yourself by hitting *6. Okay, with that, I'll let Zach get started because this is very exciting.
Wonderful. We have some very special guests tonight. We're joined by Bryan and Charree HonestAloe. I'm not sure on that last name if I got it right. Please do correct me. Owners and operators of a beautiful family, and owners and operators of HonestAloe. They're aloe farmers. You see their aloe plants right behind them. They grow it themselves with love. They package it themselves, the inner aloe gel, and ship it right to your door. It's some of the best stuff you can get on the market. Very high quality. I've tested it myself, and I'm really impressed with my family. From there, I'll let them take it away and tell us all about why Inner Aloe Gel is a good product, what it is, why you guys got started with it, and really anything you'd like to share with us. We'll do a little Q&A if anyone has questions, and we'll go from there.
Well, thank you, Zachariah.
Take it
I
away.
just want to go ahead and tell everyone good evening. Glad to be here this evening. Me and my wife, Charree, look forward to this and getting to talk to everybody, tell everyone a little bit about HonestAloe, give you a little bit of insight. And if you do have any questions, just feel free to ask us as well. We started, go ahead and start off with where HonestAloe started. As a company, it started in 2020. We started out HonestAloe. My wife, she's a RN. She actually is ICU and ER, so she experienced a lot of trauma as far as seeing people go through different types of treatments as well, and we saw a need through aloe to be able to help people. And we saw that we could be able to provide a product, and it was a product that my wife actually found out about, and she used herself due to some gut issues, and she was able to heal and be able to not have to take medication, not have to take pharmaceuticals. But it was a product that we were having a really hard time finding a clean, real organic, something that was pure, raw, that had all the healing properties that we needed. And we went ahead and wanted to provide that to the market through the product that we offer, which is Interleaf Aloe Vera Gel.
Yeah, I was mid-20s, about 25 years old. I got very, very sick, otherwise healthy, but autoimmune disease. I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome and leaky gut, and within a few weeks, we spent thousands of dollars despite good health insurance, right, going to specialists and doctors, and ultimately they told me, well, stop working out, don't ever work out again, have surgery, and take these supplements or take these medications, prescriptions, testosterone included. And praise God, thankfully, I took responsibility for my health. As an ER and ICU nurse, you see the same patients again and again. You see the same conditions. again and again, and you're prescribing the same medications, and people just come back worse. And so I think that led me to be more open with looking at the more natural route, which started our journey. I mean, there were some nights where I couldn't even walk up the stairs in my house. My knees would swell up like golf balls. He had to carry me. And so we did several things. I wouldn't attribute it all to aloe vera, but that was a huge game changer for us. And again, once we started doing it ourselves, you go to the store and there's a whole aisle. And you can do this with any product, right? Not just with aloe, but, grape juice or orange juice. And you go down the aisle, there's a whole aisle, there's all these brands, and they all look different, smell different, consistencies, different ingredients, etc. And we tried just about everything, and nothing really held a candle to when we just did it ourselves. And so I think the first day that we had tried it, I think I drank maybe 4 ounces. Bryan, he hand-filleted the aloe vera, which is what we do for our current product, and I drank about 4 ounces. And within 20 or 30 minutes, my brain fog was completely gone. Mm-hmm. I always tell folks I could actually remember where my keys were. I mean, my memory was awful. It was just everything going on with my gut. It was so destroyed. It affected my memory. And so, anyway, so me getting those kinds of results, I thought, hey, I've got to get the word out. I've got to get the word out. And so we started. We officially started. We bought a bunch of our plants because the more you go down the rabbit hole of companies, where your food comes from, what's done to it, how old it is, what preservatives are done to it, etc. Turns out a lot of our foods, including aloe, by the time you get it, it's not really what it says it is. There's on our website, we actually have an article, aloe tested at CVS, Target, and Walmart. All of them tested 0 for the healing properties of aloe vera. And that makes sense when you think about, well, there's a farm, and their bottom line is quantity, how much can they get. So they pick it before it's ripe, and they pasteurize it, they put thickeners in it, they filter it, they put all sorts of preservatives in it. So by the time it actually gets to you, there's not much good healing properties left in it. And so what we do is we grow our beautiful plants, we respect our plants, and we treat them with love and care. Yep. Bryan has built raised beds here.
Yep, so all of our beds are raised cedar beds. They're untreated. Mm-hmm. All of our soil is from a supplier here locally in Houston. They only use organic matter for their soil. They have organic leaf compost. They use organic food from organic restaurants as waste. And they also have it's a very sandy type soil. The aloes prefer a sandy type, with very good drainage. So we have that type of soil for our aloes. All the aloes are the same species. We only carry the species of Barbadensis Miller plant. That species, from our own research, has the most healing properties associated with aloe. So there's hundreds of species of aloes that you can actually get, but that species is specifically for the healing properties. And that's why our product is specifically geared towards actually drinking the product, ingesting it. But we do have customers use our plants and our leaves topically as well. So it still can be used both topically for bug bites, burns, normal aloe treatment products.
That's awesome. And can you tell everybody a little bit about why it's so important to only get the inner aloe gel versus other large-scale manufacturers? They kind of just chop everything up and toss it in there?
Yeah, absolutely. And some of that's marketing deceit, right? So in the stores, you'll see aloe vera gel, aloe vera juice, whole leaf, etc. So what these companies will do is they'll get the whole plant, roots and all. They'll throw them in a big grinder. So then you have all this mush, right? Then they'll add enzymes to it, which help break down the plant. Then they filter it. They'll add deodorizers, tons of chemicals, but deodorizers. And then, of course, they filtered it so much, so then they want to thicken it back up so it looks like aloe. So then they'll add thickeners, etc. So pretty much when you talk about aloe vera juice, that's pretty much what's happening. They're taking the whole leaf and the whole plant, mushing it all together, filtering everything out, and then trying to come back and play. And sometimes you'll actually see aloe products that will advertise, oh, we add this to our aloe. Well, they have to add something because otherwise you wouldn't be able to absorb it. It's so heavily processed, it would probably hurt you more so than do good. So what we do here at our farm, we use the inner leaf aloe vera gel only. And so we hand fillet the leaves, and then once you do that, you just take the rind off, you'll have a gel. It looks like a
fish fillet.
Like a fish fillet.
But it's clear. You know, it's like your salmon fillet. And that's the way I like it. You fillet it like it's fish.
Yeah. Well, what's so important about that, not only do you get the pulp, right, and you get the water for hydration, but you also get what's called ACE manna. There's several polysaccharides that are in inner leaf aloe vera gel. That's that gel fillet that you get. And so specifically talking about healing properties, ACE manna is just a superfood, truly. What happens is, in terms of specifically to cancer, perhaps, ACE manna will actually bind to cancer cells. So, you know, you have a cancer cell, and there's, everyone knows, sugar receptors all around it, right? ACE manna breaks down into mannose. Mannose will bind to all of those receptors that are on the cell, but the cell cannot metabolize it. So essentially, it will literally starve out the cancer cells. And studies show that the cancer cells shrink up because they're not getting fed. So that's just one of the many properties that inner leaf aloe vera gel has, right? And so what we do is we get that fillet, we lightly blend it at a very low heat low setting, speed, for about 10 to 15 seconds just to make it drinkable as opposed to chewing it. And then we bottle it up and then freeze it right away. So it's raw. We add absolutely nothing, including water. Sometimes you'll see aloe, but then you'll see water on an ingredient, right? I mean, it makes no sense. But ours is 100% pure inner leaf raw aloe vera gel.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. I was wondering why a gel instead of a juice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of your
it is kind of like a juice though. You know, like so I have some right here in my fridge, and you can drink it. Like it's liquid enough to drink it. It's not like a ooey gooey gel like you might be thinking. Like it's not like a hair gel consistency. It's drinkable straight.
It's like, and that's the thing. Like to us, it's like a little bit orange juice in a way, like a little bit thicker than orange juice, I would say.
Yeah. Or like if you've ever seen like isolated egg whites, it kind of reminded me of that a little bit, like that texture a little bit.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But a lot of the aloe, when it's just juice, and you look at that in the stores, it's very little aloe content. Very little.
It's filtered. There's absolutely no pulp in it. You know, it's meant to be like a water. That's why they call it the juice. And so we've kind of tried to separate ourselves from that deceit a little bit in the sense of it's the gel. We just make the gel in a drinkable form without damaging the actual properties of the plant.
And on the note of getting that, you know, just the inner fillet versus the whole plant again, can you talk a little bit about aloe and why, you know, what harm that might have, if that's included in some of the products, and how you make sure you get rid of it?
Yeah, so when we fillet our plants, we actually extract the aloe out, which is that yellow sticky substance from that the plant actually uses to protect itself too. And so that yellow sticky substance, the aloe, can actually irritate your gut. It's actually a natural laxative, and if it's taken too much, then you can actually have some more problems as well. But we remove all of that. We actually do a double batch processing to remove the aloe to make sure that none of it's actually in our processing once we get to the point where we fillet the leaf completely and have that inner leaf, just that clear gel fillet.
And really on the cellular level, what happens with the aloe, it's just a very rough property, and so it'll actually scratch your intestinal lining, which hence induces a laxative effect. So in some cultures, they actually use it as a laxative. You know, they'll raise aloe plants and then just extract the laxative, the aloe properties. But pretty much it creates abrasions in your GI tract, and that's what induces the the laxative effect.
That's amazing. And so besides cancer, there's a long list of things that aloe's been shown to improve the condition of or help the body heal. Talk about some of the other stuff. I mean, there's a giant list on your website even.
Yeah. So I guess I'll speak to this one too with my my ER and ICU experience and just my nursing background. But a lot of what we know, and we've known for a long time, right? Our body, all of our organs communicate with one another, right? There's not just, oh, your liver, you have a liver problem. It's not just, oh, your gut, let's isolate the gut, or, et cetera. That our bodies were created and designed to work together in synergy,
harmony with one another.
Harmony with one another, yeah. And so we know aloe vera, interleaf aloe vera gel, has been used in cultures for centuries, and it's been used for gut healing. History tells us that. My own experience tells us that. And so in, I guess, short story, really when you heal the gut, a lot of our problems today derive from the gut, right? Things aren't moving, things aren't flushing things back up. Here goes your liver. Things get backed up, which causes more problems here and there, especially your gut-brain barrier. And we can talk a little bit about that. But pretty much as the healing and the repairing and the rejuvenating of the gut, because interleaf aloe vera gel actually has prebiotics in it. I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's got ace manna, it's got prebiotics, it's got saponins, it's got several properties in it that's just a powerhouse for your gut healing. Your gut lining, not just your small intestines, but your large intestines, your stomach. So once you, my theory, from what I've heard back from customers and my own personal experience, once you fix the gut, your brain will clear up. Your liver is allowed to unload the toxins back into the gut to be excreted. A lot of the other organs start communicating together with one another. So primarily anything with gut, we have had great success rates personally and from customers, their feedback to us. But I mean, huge. We were talking to Zachariah. We had a customer just recently in the spring tell us she had been taking our aloe just 2 tablespoons a day. It was about a shot glass a day is what she was taking, and she didn't really notice any kind of, miraculous differences. Like me, I knew my brain fog was gone. I knew that there was a direct connection, but she quite didn't feel that. Well, a holiday came around. She had never been able to drink wine before. She was trying to help remodulate her liver. She had some liver issues, didn't know how to fix it, tried aloe. So a holiday came around, and she's like, well, what the heck? I'm with family. She had a glass of wine. Well, she ended up messaging me, and she's like, oh, wow, you'll never believe it. I got drunk. I had the whole bottle. And so obviously that wasn't our goal there, right? But that does tell us that there has been some kind of repair in her liver. Yeah. And that was the only thing that she was doing different. She wasn't using anything else or changing any other lifestyle habits. But outside of that, it's huge for yeast. Clients who are wanting to go to a chemical-free home, if you have any kind of yeast, eczema, psoriasis, things like that, I would always encourage skin complications or a reflection of your gut. What's going on in your gut is almost always going to show up on your skin. And so I would always advocate for drinking for those purposes as well, but you can apply it to your skin. Also, diabetes. That's actually theorized that it works the same way with ace manna in terms of how it will bind to the cancer cells but not metabolize. It's theorized that it would do the same for our beta cells as well, right? So we don't have to, so it actually decreases your blood sugar. There was a recent study that was done. Patients who took just one tablespoon every day for 6 weeks, it decreased their fasting blood sugar levels by 64%. So I mean, and that's just with diet, but I mean, it's just all these offshoots. I mean, we could talk all day probably about that, but there are lots of things.
Just to summarize that, Zachariah, too, it's like we've talked about customers. People ask us about that all the time, and we tell them, it's like, hey, what it does for a sunburn on your skin, it does the same thing internally. It works the same way. God designed the plant in a multi-purpose use, and it heals what it does externally the same way internally. So it's an easy way for us to explain it.
Diabetes is a major comorbidity to cancer.
Yeah.
It's a precursor for a lot of people. That's definitely a great thing to get sorted out.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm so happy that we met at Healing Strong.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome. So yeah, at this point, does anyone have any questions for our aloe experts and our aloe farmers here, based on anything you've heard so far, coaches or any other attendees? Sure, Catherine.
Yes, I just wanted to know, do you have just the product for eating, for drinking, or do you also have topical application products?
They're the same. So all we do is inner leaf gel only, 100%. We do sell the little pups. They make great gifts, but we sell the little aloe vera plant pups. But all of our aloe, we don't add anything to it.
Yeah. So you can use it for topical. You can use it for ingesting internally. We have customers that buy it for both.
But it would be the same bottle, the same product. If you go to our website, we have 4 different sizes: 7 ounce, a 14 ounce, a 28 ounce, and a 58 ounce. That's launching. And so, if you're doing a home, skin application or something, you might want a smaller container. We do recommend, if you add vitamin E or vitamin C to your inner leaf aloe vera, just get like the little capsules from the health food store, you can actually make a skin salve yourself that you can put in the fridge and it'll last for 3 months. That vitamin E and that vitamin C will preserve it naturally longer. Once you receive our inner leaf aloe vera gel, by the time it defrosts, it's good for about 14 days. You want to try to consume it within 14 days. And you would treat it like milk. Since there are no preservatives in it, it is perishable. If you leave it out on the counter all day, little bugs are going to start to grow because they love that raw organic food.
So I was thinking, because of juice, you got to drink a certain amount. So what would you say is your recommended amount for an average person, a person with issues, etc.?
Yes, so right now I'm recommending 1 tablespoon a day for just a regular person, someone wanting to try it, 1 tablespoon a day. And the reason why I recommend that is there's been several studies, the most recent out of the Hippocrates Institute of Health in Florida. They did a study, 200 participants took aloe vera gel, inner leaf aloe vera gel, just 1 tablespoon with their daily supplements, their vitamin supplements, whatever they were taking. And then 200 participants took just their supplements without the aloe. Every single participant who took the aloe vera gel with their supplements had an increased nutrient level content for every nutrient tested. And that's in their blood. So it actually drew blood. Right, so if you're eating something but you're not absorbing it, is it really getting through your system, right? Yeah. And so it was a very well done study. But so it increases absorption of vitamins and minerals. And so I definitely recommend at least 1 tablespoon a day for that, twice a day. Now, if you're in a chronic situation, let's say you're having bleeding ulcers, or maybe you're having pain, a diverticulitis outbreak, or you're just trying to, maybe you just found out you've got cancer and you're wanting to just do everything you can right away. The initial loading dose for that is 8 ounces 3 times a day for 3 days. And that's a lot up front, but every customer who's had a serious situation, but usually by day 2, their symptoms are gone. But of course we say 3 just to make sure, because once your symptoms are gone, it doesn't mean all the flames and fire and inflammation's down quite yet. So we say 3 days. That's if you're in an acute situation. You're wanting to get rid of, a good loading dose, get everything on board, try to rebuild some of that gut flora naturally. That's what we recommend.
Now, is there such a thing as too much? Can you OD on the stuff, or what?
Not that we're aware of. As far as what we've seen, we haven't seen any negative side effects from drinking too much. I've drank 8 ounces several times a day and not had any issues. And we've had, like Trey mentioned as well, we've had customers that drink 10 ounces, 12 ounces in one setting, and they love it. I mean, it just makes you, like, especially for me, on my own personal experience with aloe, even though I do eat very clean and try to, maintain a healthy lifestyle, the fact is that if you have a big meal, like when I had a large meal or something heavy that would normally weigh me down, the aloe would take that away. It would just totally eliminate that brain fog. any type of fatigue, any type of post meal
Food coma.
Food coma, yeah. No better term. Food coma, yeah. It would remove that and allow me to be able to just be able to have the headspace and think clearly. And that's one thing I really saw that aloe provided, because it goes right to the source.
So, and we know aloe vera is water soluble, so it's filtered through your kidneys. So, having said that, if you have a patient who is on dialysis and they're on strict, they have a very, very strict, this is more of end of life usually, then proceed with caution. Or we know that for diabetes, that it actually will help your body handle your blood sugar better and maintain it better. So if you are actively taking insulin or metformin, any kind of pharmaceutical insulin, I would just check your blood sugar more often if you're drinking the aloe. But that's pretty much the only, and we've not had any bad reports. We just know following the trail that it will help decrease the blood sugar. So just be on the lookout if you're on pharmaceuticals for that.
Can you give us your website I'll put it in the chat.
Yes, www.honestaloe.com.
Man, you got a great URL.
Well, and on that note, too, I was going to mention as well, if you're on any other pharmaceuticals, I would not take them with the aloe. I would not take them together. I would space them out at least 30 minutes, because we know that it increases the absorption, right, of fat and water solubles, of nutrients and minerals. And so there's a likelihood that it could potentially increase absorption if you're on heavy pharmaceuticals. So if you're on any prescription medication, I would just not take it within 30 minutes of that.
Yeah, I think, Zach, did you send that chat to everybody?
No, I think I think Catherine just put it to everybody.
Okay.
And it looked like Rose, did you raise your hand a moment ago?
I did. I have a huge aloe plant that I ended up sort of almost drowning the whole plant. But what I did was one of the leaves was separating, and so I pulled it off, and that's what I did. I took all of the insides, and I scraped it out, and I read something about making ice cubes, so I put it in the ice cube container, but I didn't label it, and I didn't tell my husband about it. So he went to make a cocktail at one point, and so these ice cubes were all gooey.
Oh yeah.
He couldn't understand what happened to the ice cubes, and then I remembered, oh wait a minute, it's not ice cubes, they're aloe cubes.
Yeah. Aloe cubes.
Sneaking the dose in there.
Yeah.
You do that with our product too.
Now you said that you use a specific aloe plant and for a specific reason.
Yes.
So people that might have aloe plants at home, they might not have the specific type of plant that you're talking about. Which one was that again?
Well, the Barbadensis Miller.
That's too much for me to spell. Barb.
Well, and it's identification. When they're small, they're like a light green and they have little white specks on them. And when they're mature, when they're older, about 5 years or older, they're like a green, like a dusky green, gray. Yeah. It's kind of hard to tell here, but
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah,
they're darker, more like a hunter green type, towards more of a hunter green. And then they bloom yellow around, for us it's January. They actually bloom yellow bloom. Other aloes, I know there's
red.
Ones that will actually, they'll stay that light green with like little white specks, and they bloom a different color. So you can kind of identify. And then most aloes are edible, right? But we chose the Barbadensis Miller because it has the highest content of ace manna, which we talked about before.
Yeah.
Do is that on your website? Do you explain that on your website? Good.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And if anyone has questions as well, I have you can go to our website, but also you can email me directly at hello@honestaloe.com. Made it easier this time, Zachariah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Last time it was my name, and that's not very easy. So let's just hello@honestaloe.com, and I'll be answering that directly. If y'all have any questions moving forward.
But yeah, check out the website for sure, because there's a ton of information Charee's put on there.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really big advocates of informed consent as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure that our consumers understand fully our product. We want to have a full transparency with our product as well, from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. It looked like Maya had a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. Do you do affiliate programs? Do you have affiliate programs?
We don't right now, but we're open to it.
Okay.
We don't right now, but we'd be open to talking more about that.
Zach and I can help you with that for sure.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And something too about our farm we didn't mention. So with Bryan, it's very important, even like the raised beds. So if you're growing aloe at home, make sure it's in an area that's not going to be contaminated by your neighbor's fertilizers or, glyphosate and any kind of runoff. Because even for Houston, we get hurricane season, and so we can sometimes get flooded areas, and we don't want the runoff from the roads and the oil and everything else to end up in our plants. And so, we built raised beds, and so if you have aloe plants at home, you can put them in, some kind of potter or anything like that, or make sure, again, it's the cactus blend so it can drain well. We do not recommend using city water.
Yeah.
That will almost guarantee to kill your plants. So the acidity, they put chlorine and a whole bunch of other junk in it. The pH will kill your plant.
So we have our own rainwater harvesting system here to keep our plants nice and hydrated. When it's not raining, sometimes it doesn't rain in Houston, but we keep them all. Only they have rainwater. We make sure that's a key aspect, because aloe it's very high in water content. So it's very important for our plants to stay hydrated throughout their whole life cycle.
And what's in our soil typically ends up in our food, right? And so, again, we don't spray anything on our soil. We don't put any, we don't, kill or keep pests away or anything. It's beautiful. You come out here, my kids play with the frogs. They try to catch the lizards. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And how is it caring for the aloe plants? Are they like a hefty plant? Are they pretty resilient, or are they more, tender and you have to be really careful with them?
They're very hardy plant in a lot of ways. I mean, being a succulent, they're very hardy. They do like a specific amount of sunlight. They do like a specific amount of water. So if they have too much of either, you can tell the plants either want to fold up. They'll fold up, get real close together, or they'll spread out and get really wide. And so you can look at a plant and you can tell if you're getting too much sunlight. You look at the leaves and you can see the leaves they're not firm, but they're kind of soft. That tells you the plant doesn't have as much water content in the leaf itself. It could get more water. And there's things about the plant. We actually, because we get a lot of direct sunlight in some of our areas of where our plants are for our raised beds, we actually put actual screens over them to reduce some of the sunlight so that they get optimal amount of sunlight as well. So that's not something you're going to see at a 20-acre farm of aloe in Dominican Republic. So.
Well,
I've seen huge farms in Mexico and Costa Rica.
About
they're probably for tequila.
Yeah. But about 98% of the aloe that's sold in U.S. stores, 98% of it comes from India, the Dominican Republic, or Mexico.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. And so on that note,
it's just out in the field, like you said.
Yeah, and something funny about that too is that it's out in the field, and they typically do use fertilizers. They'll use different chemicals to keep pests away or to kill ants and things like that. They do a big bulk harvest. We only harvest leaves that are ripe when they're ripe, right? So we'll only take certain leaves when they're ripe. We don't wait. We just don't put it on the calendar. Oh, this is our big sale day. No, we only pick leaves that are ripe because these bigger companies, what they'll do, they're only concerned about yield. So they pick them, right? Then they'll stabilize them, and they'll go ahead and put them in these huge 50-gallon drums because they have to get them to the States or any other country they're going to, right? So what the farmers do, they have to typically put them all in a drum, and they'll go ahead and put stabilizers and chemicals in them, pasteurize it, and then they'll ship it to distributors here in the U.S. And so from the distributors, then they'll sell it to the different companies in the U.S., but anything that's added to the aloe before it gets to U.S. soil is not required to be on the shipping ingredient label. I'm sorry, the ingredients labels. Yep. Believe it or not. So you can actually have double the chemicals in it, and you won't even know it. So with saying that, we do not recommend, we said 1 tablespoon a day or 8 ounces a day. That's of our product. We do not recommend that you go to your health food store and buy a thing of aloe and drink that because of that marketing deceit. There could be a lot of chemicals in that could actually make you sick. And I've actually known someone who's done that. She thought, oh, okay, well, I don't want to buy yours, but I'll go somewhere else. And then she called me, and she just wasn't doing well. But it's because she was drinking 8 glasses. She's drinking for 2 days, and she just could not stop going to the bathroom. She was so sick. But anyway, so we do recommend that's for our product. Yeah. If you're doing that for a different brand, I would definitely recommend doing your homework, just making sure you're getting something that's going to be clean and pure and raw.
Can aloe thrive as an indoor plant at all, or is it very much wanting the outside?
It can. If it's by window, where it does need light, a succulent does need light. But again, even in a house, you wouldn't want to put it in direct sunlight all day long. Yeah, absolutely. If you got a little potter, just make sure it's got a hole in the bottom so you don't overwater it. The biggest problem that folks will see when they have indoor aloe plants is they'll water it and it's not good drainage. And then the roots will get root rot, and then your plant will start falling apart or not growing. Yeah. So again, water with filtered water, clean water, even bottled water is better than city water, but just don't use city water to water your aloe.
Main key for aloe is also like correct temperature range. Aloes do not like to get too cold, and so we try to keep our aloes, all of them, above about 38 degrees. We actually tarp them in the wintertime, and we have heat, different types of heaters we put on them to keep them warm. And saying sounds crazy, but
we love our aloe.
Yeah, put a blanket on them, keep them warm.
Yeah, tuck them in at night.
Yeah. So we keep them in good shape there. But in doing so, even when we had 3 years ago, we had a really hard freeze down here in Houston, to keep all of our aloes. I think we lost maybe like 4 plants. Yeah. Even though everybody else was wiped out completely.
We worked hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that there was a big power outage or whatever.
Yep.
That freeze,
Yeah, we were out of power for about 2 days at our house.
Several places were out, so it was really bad. It was not good for the community, that's for sure.
I'm in Austin. I totally know what you went through. We went through the same thing.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is hard. It was hard.
Yeah. Awesome. Do we have any more questions for our aloe experts here? Anyone else?
Well, I'll go on because I took a ton of notes, so let me just run down some of the notes. I love the brain fog thing. We talked a lot about the gut here, eating right especially, but I had gone through 2 rounds of Lyme's disease, and brain fog is a big deal with that, especially because even if you go the holistic route, they want you to start off on antibiotics, and some people go so far down the medical route that they have ports put in for antibiotics. It's really, really bad for Lyme. So I'm thinking this might be a good thing for Lyme's. I don't know if you ever thought about that. And also, too, Lyme's people go through chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia pain. So, yeah, I can identify with some of those things that you were saying in a real way.
Yeah.
So, and How did you test the competitors? How did you, when you went to Costco or wherever you went to, Walmart or whatever, and you bought their juices, how were you able to test that?
Well, just drinking it. We didn't it off to a facility to get tested, but just drinking it. But quite honestly, once I started going down the rabbit hole of how our food's produced, what these chemicals are, the preservatives, sodium benzoate and, all these things, if it had that on the label, we didn't buy it.
Yeah.
So that was also how I kind of just tested to see what was good and what wasn't. And I started, I even would go in the store and I started taking pictures of labels. And I would go home, and because I have kids, we have 3 beautiful, beautiful boys. And so I didn't have time to just sit in the store for an hour and read labels, so I would actually just grab a bottle and take a picture, and grab a bottle and take a picture, and I would go home and I would look through, and then I would do some research on the company, and turns out, it was heavily pasteurized, or their marketing, we add this to our aloe for better absorption. Well, they do that because it doesn't have the aloe in it anymore. You're stripping it. And so that was honestly most of our testing after we came to the conclusion of, okay, we really need to be reading our labels.
Yeah, and you just said the magic P word, right? The pasteurization, that superheating, that just kills so many nutrients, so many of the enzymes that we need, not only in aloe, but so many other products. Yeah. I just put a link in the chat that is the link to the study, because even though, they haven't necessarily done their own independent testing of competitors, other people have done it, right? So we can reference the other independent third-party tests of the aloe products. So this is a Chicago Tribune article that links to a study that's saying that samples were taken of Walmart, Target, CVS, aloe products showed no indication of the plant in various lab tests. Wow. So it didn't even test positive for aloe traces.
Yep.
So the studies have been done, certainly. Yeah, if you get a chance to see the movie, it's a kind of a documentary. It's called Food Inc.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great movie. It definitely lets you know about what's going on with our food.
What's it called, Charles?
Food Inc. Food Inc. like incorporated. There's another one, King Corn, but that's just specifically about the corn industry, which is another huge thing. Yeah, Food Inc.
I'm a huge proponent of informed consent. As a nurse, I saw a huge lack of that, and it hurt my heart, But so I kind of use our website as a platform for informed consent. Your risks, that's your benefits, and your alternatives. And you hardly ever get that in our current medical establishment in the U.S. And so we really push for that. And so I always try to tell people it's not just about the aloe. Yeah, this is our little corner, and that's, we do what we do to bring a good raw product. But think that forward, like where's your juices coming from? What are these other products you're bringing into your home? It's the same. There's only so many orange farms. Yeah. So again, the same thing applies. The distributor can put ingredients, the farmers can put ingredients in there to stabilize it, to ship it, or to do whatever they want to do, pasteurize it, put it in these drums, send it to the distributors, and then it's whatever those companies put on the labels that's required by the FDA. And so, but it's not just aloe about that kind of deception there, but it's all of our foods, anything that you're buying in bulk, make sure you're doing what you can. And Bryan and I will laugh about it because you'll go and you'll see, even aloe, in a glass bottle, but you read it and it's from like India, and so it's you think, oh well, so it was in plastic. There was some kind of stabilizer or pasteurization that was done. They just put it in a glass bottle because they know that will sell. That's the trend currently right now, But it doesn't mean that it's pure and it's any better than anything else.
And they do add citric acid to almost everything nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And citric acid is not vitamin C.
No, it's grown from grown from mold, or even a black mold. It's like a poisonous mold. Incredible.
Yeah. Catherine, did you have your hand up there?
Did you have do you have any educational pamphlets that accompany?
You have the ones.
I do have some. I'd be happy to send you some.
Yeah. Perfect. The reason, as you know, I've been asked to put together baskets for people with cancer, and this sounds like a really interesting product, maybe for them to test. And so I would need a pamphlet, and maybe, do you have little sample bottles or anything?
Our samples are 7 ounce right now.
Yeah, our samples are the 7 ounce bottles that we do have, but again, it does have to stay frozen. So I'm not sure what you're planning to do with the baskets, but it will have to stay frozen. Once it's defrosted, it just starts perishing.
Yeah. So we should.
Let me rephrase that. It stays frozen until you're ready to use it. Now, once you use it, you defrost it and then use it within 14 days.
Yeah.
So once it's thawed, it has to be used within a 2-week period. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So that's
how long can it stay frozen?
Up to 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Up to a year?
Up to a year. That's about as far as we've tested. And you can freeze it. So let's say you buy a bigger bottle because it's a little bit cheaper. You can let it defrost, pour some into another container or another old dish, and then refreeze that. You can refreeze it up to twice before you start seeing chemical changes in the aloe.
Wonderful. Because, guys, remember, you're getting as close as you can get to a fresh piece of produce and a fresh bit of produce.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'd like to get the pamphlet too, if that's possible.
Sure. But to contribute, we could even give a little discount or something in our thing if you wanted to add that to your basket.
Yeah.
We can give a little card.
Yeah.
Or figure something out. If you want to email me, we can talk more about that.
Yes.
yes.
Awesome. Yep. And their email, once again, is hello@honestaloe.com for any of our coaches or anyone else that has questions.
We do have 10 minutes left, so if anybody has anything they want to ask. Otherwise, I'll probably ask more questions.
All right, Carl. Looks like you're up.
Well, I'm a dirt nerd. I love the whole. Am I echoing on your side?
No, you're fine.
A little bit.
Maybe it stopped now. Okay. So I love the whole fact of where you get your dirt, right? You get it organic compost with leaves and just compost from organic gardens. I make compost all the time, and I'll tell you, there's nothing greater than reaching in and having black earth. It's so fresh, and it doesn't smell at all. It's great.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. I do raised beds as well with cedar.
Cedar as well.
Yeah. And then I use other complementary plants to keep bugs away, like marigolds and things like that are natural pest repellents and bee attractors and that kind of stuff. So that was interesting. I thought that was great. And maybe you could tell us a little bit more about the polysaccharides.
Yeah, the polysaccharides. Oh, I love it. Okay. Well, in some folks, they'll see our label. Our label, it does have carbohydrates in it. It's got several. In fact, when you look at the label, it's got several carbohydrates. And we'll have patients that do have cancer that are overcoming that. They'll say, oh, no, I can't have this. There's sugar in it. But, of course, it's a natural sugar. So the major polysaccharide known for medicinal purposes in the interleaf aloe vera gel is called ACE mannan. Or ACE manna, and that metabolizes into mannose. And mannose is what will bind to those sugar receptors on cancer cells, right? But it does not allow it to metabolize. And that's the beautiful thing about it. That's the only sugar that's known today, synthetic or natural, that will actually do that.
That's incredible. Probably attracts the cancer cell. Probably attracts it too because it's trying to process sugar.
Yeah, absolutely. And the pharmaceutical companies back in the 80s is when a lot of this research came from. That's when they really tried to put, pharmaceutical companies mock and try to mimic natural remedies. They've always done that because you can't patent nature, right? And so they've been trying to do this since the 80s. In fact, and it's so effective, even when it's not raw, it's so effective, aloe, when it's not raw, that various cancer clinics are actually using it in conjunction with chemotherapy because there are patients that aren't comfortable enough to just go all in chemotherapy because they've seen the quality of life, and people just, unfortunately, you know, if they do make it through that, it comes back, or their quality of life is changed forever. So they'll actually do the aloe with the chemo, and those patients that are doing chemo with the aloe, they don't lose weight, they're able to eat, they're not throwing up. I mean, it's just phenomenal, the power of that ace manna that's in there. Ace manna will also, in your gut, it lays a platform for the prebiotics to take place. So the saponins in it, they're more like prebiotics, right? That's another component of the interleaf aloe vera gel. So the ace manna will come in, let's say you have leaky gut syndrome, and it will, in your gut, it acts like a cork, and it'll literally plug those little holes. And again, contributing to the brain fog, right? I mean, some folks it's immediate. You know, for me especially, it was immediate. You know, that's part of the ace manna as well. It plugs those little holes and allows it to start settling down the inflammation and building back up, laying the foundation for those prebiotics.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring up the fact that pharma just tries to mimic nature. Yeah, we've seen that. There's another natural thing that starves cancer. I think it's lectin. Is that right, Maya? It's from tomato plants. From tomatoes.
Yeah.
Is it lectin? Yeah. And that literally starves cancer.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
I'm trying to think of the natural component to tomatoes. Is it? Oh, lycopene.
Lycopene, yeah.
Yeah, lycopene.
In tomatoes, lycopene. Actually, turmeric is one of them, like that kind of disable that pathway from, there's a pathway when the cancer grows doubles. There's a little tube between cells that pathways that feeds the other cancer cell. So the turmeric basically disables that pathway.
Yeah, okay. Amazing. Yeah. I just think like aloe, lycopene, and turmeric, right?
Right. Well, turmeric is one of them, but there's so many, especially garlic and like leeks, anything in that family, onions, they do a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
I want to take a second to highlight how awesome it is when you receive their product. You get it in this packaging. You know, this thing's like a little tank. They really take care to make sure it gets to you safe and sound.
You're gonna have to do an unboxing video.
Yeah.
So it's already in the freezer. But yeah, it's this nice styrofoam. This is a thick like styrofoam cooler package. They packaged it with dry ice, so it made it all the way here from Texas. I'm in New Jersey, and it was still large majority frozen still, and that made it perfectly safe, of course, to just pop one in the fridge, put the rest in the freezer, and save those for later. And then it even experienced shipping delays due to the carrier or whatever, and it still arrived in a very good condition. This is what their bottles looks like. This is the 28 ounce. Super cool. It's in this nice HDPE plastic because they were telling me that because it's mostly water in aloe and it is frozen, you can't really put it in glass because that risks, of course, expansion and then rupturing, which you don't want. So they took a lot of care to put it in this safe plastic bottle. And then I just want to mention for anyone that you don't want to drink it from this. I guess unless you're going to down the whole thing right there, of course. You don't want to introduce your oral bacteria into the bottle, contaminate it, and that'll kind of break it down and make it perish fast. So pour out how much you're going to do, measure it out, whatever, put it in your smoothie, in your other cup, pop that back in the fridge.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's quite an operation that you have there.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you're experiencing acute, like a big question that we get, a common question is, well, when do you take it? Like with food or without food? And so I recommend if you're in an acute situation and you're trying to, especially with the gut, you're trying to settle some things down, I would drink it on an empty stomach. That gives you, that way the aloe's not competing with anything, it's not going to work or bind with anything else. It'll settle everything down. And then again, but if you're just trying to start it up or, more bang for your buck with supplements, because good ones aren't cheap, right? Go ahead and take it with your supplements, depending on what your health goals are. But if you're in an acute situation, I would for sure drink it on an empty stomach.
Do you have anything else? We've got 2 minutes left, so you can take the stage and do some closing comments and
Yeah, well, even our kids will drink it.
Yeah, like, so we have, well, I say, Charree says our kids will drink it. We have our 11-month-old. He's not on board yet, so he's still not. But our 4-year-old and our 2-year-old they love it. They enjoy drinking it. They're huge advocates for it. They just come around. They tell people about aloe. They ask them if they want aloe, and they're just it's really cute. But we try to make it a family business. We try to make sure that it's a family, it's a group effort, and at the end of the day, we're really here just to help people. We're really here to make a difference where people can heal, because there's so much deception in the healing, like especially around cancer, around pharmaceuticals, around conventional cancer treatment. There's so much better ways to do that. There's so many better ways to treat cancer, and we've seen, and we've actually helped people and that I've worked with directly who's going through cancer treatments and telling them about the effects of Ace Mana and them seeing those results. So it's been a great experience for Charree and I. We're very thankful. We're very blessed to be able to do this, to have the aloe business, and we're very, very thankful.
I just want to add.
We're blessed to have you, and definitely we want to get your name out there.
Yeah. I grew up always having aloe in our house. We always had the aloe plants for every little things. My grandma, my mom, they would just put aloe or give us an aloe. So I'm so happy to find a clean source of aloe, because it's not an easy thing to find.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love it, and it's super amazing. My most personal experience with aloe is for a couple years I lived with someone who they actually made their own skin and hair oil, and one of the primary ingredients in it was aloe. Now we didn't have a whole farm operation, so we would get what we could, and we got the aloe from Walmart. As good as that could be, it's a little suspicious, but we did get the leaf, and then she would fillet it, and then make the make the oil with the other ingredients as well. So we would have the aloe plants around.
Yeah, my daughter.
Go ahead.
I said my daughter has a very curly hair, and then we buy only natural stuff. So so many hair products does contain chemicals in them. So we get aloe and we make a gel, and then she puts it on her hair. It's actually, her hair is, has become so silky and so beautiful from it. The same way I get it from the store, I just take the gel out and she just puts it on her hair.
Yeah. Oh, it's super powerful, and I saw firsthand. I mean, that was some of the best skin and hair oil I'd ever seen. There were some other ingredients, but one of the main ones was definitely the aloe.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff. And we have to mention that it's super fun to pretend it's an alligator tail. We can't. We have to.
Yeah, and that just speaks to the power of interleaf aloe vera, right? Because even when you do get products that have been heavily processed or filtered, you can still get some good benefits from it, right? And again, that's why it doesn't take much, 1 to 2 tablespoons to get the job done when you have raw, whole product.
Amazing.
And again, I always tell people, you can do what we do at home. We don't do anything special that you can't do at home. We're really just here for convenience and really to educate, because, even as a nurse, that's my responsibility. And a privilege, really, I guess, more so than a responsibility. But I'm proud to do it and excited to do it. And we're just thankful for y'all's opportunities.
May I say thank you for living in integrity.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Rose, did you have something you wanted to ask before we close out?
Is it just the two of you, or do you have a group of employees that work with you, or is it just the two of you?
It's just us two right now.
It's just us. Our boys will help us, with there's weeds or something, but it's just, we do everything, the website, everything, until we pass it off to the carrier. We do everything. So, and it's it allows us to stand firm by what we say. You know, we're not dictating and trusting him. We're making sure that it's done right, completely the way our standards, very high standards, you know, and make sure it's done correctly.
That just, we've talked about this before, Zachariah, but I didn't want to tell the group, like, what you talk about standards and the quality standards. When you have an aloe product that's from the store, and we talked about pasteurization, other types of methods that are used to preserve that aloe, they can use any leaf when they produce that aloe. We are very, very selective on the leaves that we choose, because when you choose a leaf that is older, when you choose a leaf that is dehydrated, when you can taste that immediately. And so it's so important. It's something that we do through our quality control. And before we bottle any of our aloe, we taste test we sample test all of our aloe before we bottle it. And so we've gotten to the point, we've gotten much better as far as selecting the premium leaves. And that is what you're getting on the quality, the taste. It's going to be, it directly reflects the quality of the leaf, because there is no preservative, there is no pasteurization, there is no chemicals added that's going to, or flavors. So you're getting what the leaf provides, only that. So.
Nice.
Excellent.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
I see we have a couple people that joined us late. I want to remind that we are wrapping up, but this video has been recorded, luckily, and you can catch it on the BeatCancer.Org YouTube channel, and that's youtube.com/BeatCancer.Org. Don't put the dot in that one, and the replay will be reposted there.
Yeah, we'll get that up. We'll get that. The Thanksgiving one up right away. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was excellent information.
Thank you, Ken.
Yep. Another thank you, Bryan and Charree, HonestAloe.com. You guys are wonderful and full of information.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You as well.
Thank you so
Thank you all
much.
again.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye now.
Yeah.
Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving, everybody.